Howie Roseman. What a great draft. And number 11 has a new meaning in Philadelphia.
Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yeah.
And welcome to another episode of Eagles Connect. The channel talks all Eagles all the time. I'm your host George, and on this episode we will be recapping the NFL draft, and I'm going to be giving a grade to each draft pick as well as the draft as a whole. Now, before we get to my episode, I just want to remind everyone, do not forget to follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter at Eagles_Connect for all your news and updates on the Eagles organization. Also, don't forget to show your love to this video and subscribe to my channel. Now, let's get to the episode. So if we're talking about the draft, we have to talk about the Eagles trade with the Saints, because this set the tone for the entire draft. And right away, when I'm looking at the picks, I'm looking at number 18 and 101, because we used those two picks to get AJ Brown. So we're already seeing the fruits of this trade at this year's draft. So another thing I want to quickly point out is, we moved from 19 to 18, and I know one spot might not mean anything, but it could also mean the world. Because here, if you think about it, maybe we stayed at 19, and someone came and traded up with the Saints at 18 and took Treylon Burks. So does the Titans trade then even happen? Because I'm pretty sure the Titans would only trade if they can get Treylon Burks. So even moving up that one spot gave us an opportunity to get AJ Brown. And then you're looking at the 2023 first round pick, and now you have insurance for Jalen Hurts, just in case he doesn't play that well. Also, you did take some financial relief by not paying 2 first round picks, and I'm sure you can use it with that contract that you gave AJ Brown. But even if Jalen Hurts does well, now we have 3 picks in the first and second round for 2023 and 2024. So in 2 years, we will be picking 3 picks in the first 2 rounds. So I have to give this trade an A+, or 100 out of 100, because it definitely set the tone and it allowed us to get AJ Brown, and we have no idea what's gonna happen in the future, but I do think this is a great trade. And if you want more details on this trade, check out my video titled Philadelphia Eagles Trade Draft Picks with the New Orleans Saints. So I give this trade an A+, or 100 out of 100. Now let's look at the 13th pick overall, Jordan Davis. And I did go through my reaction of the pick, so please look at my previous video. However, I do want to elaborate on how I think the Eagles are going to use Jordan Davis. Now, if you look, before we drafted Jordan Davis, I have the defense at a 3-3-5 nickel package. And I do still think, even though we drafted Jordan Davis, this is the scheme that we're going to see most of the time. Why? Because most of the offense do use a slot receiver, so you will always see a nickel package. Now, we did say that Jonathan Gannon wanted to do a hybrid defense, and with Jordan Davis, that allows him. So put Jordan Davis in, and now you have a 5-man front. You have Jordan Davis as nose tackle, and then you have Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave right next to him. Then you have Brandon Graham as the Sam, and I put Hassan Reddick as the well, because he can pressure the quarterback or he can drop back in coverage, which I think Hassan Reddick can do. So now you can play this 5-man front and switch to a 4-man front. So now you could do the hybrid defense that Jonathan Gannon was trying to accomplish. Now, just take a look at this line. Who the hell is going to run on this line? And what quarterback is going to have time to take a step back and go through his progressions and throw the ball? It's just not going to happen. I think this is a lethal line right now. However, I did give this pick a B+ or an 89 out of 100. And 3 reasons why I gave it a B+ and not an A. 1, Kyle Hamilton and Jermaine Johnson were still on the board. And I think that the Eagles should have drafted those 2 before Jordan Davis. Also, number 2, defensive tackle was not a need. Safety was a need. Edge was a need. Defensive tackle was not a need. Defensive tackle is more of a luxury. And 3, the picks that we gave up to move to number 13, which was the 15th pick, the 124 pick, which was in the 4th round, and 2 5th-round picks, 162 and 166. I do think that that's a lot to move 2 spots. And also, if you look at the next rounds, I do think that because we traded those picks, that we could not move up. So this kind of handicapped us and limited our movement in the later rounds. So that's why I gave this pick a B+. Nevertheless, I do think that Jordan Davis is an excellent player, and the Eagles will benefit when Fletcher Cox retires or they're not able to sign Javon Hargrave to an extension. Now let's talk about the A.J. Brown trade. And I know I talked about it last episode, but I love this trade so much that I'm going to talk about it again. And I love this trade for multiple reasons. And let's go down the list, right? One of the top wide receivers in the NFL, check. Young, check. He's only 24 years old. He still hasn't entered his prime yet. He is 1 year older than Devontae Smith. That is insane. So check, he's young. A veteran presence, check. So we're now bringing a veteran presence, which I said before that a rookie would not help Jalen Hurts. A veteran needs to be there. Now we have that veteran presence, so check. And then you want to add a bonus. He already has chemistry with Jalen Hurts because they've practiced any chance they get during their off seasons and anytime they're meeting with each other. Even A.J. Brown said in his press conference that anytime they meet, they always get a session in. So he already has chemistry with it. So I just love this trade. Again, I also love this trade because what we gave up. We gave up the 18th and 101 pick. Like, that's it for A.J. freaking Brown. That is insane. Like, let's look at some of the trades. Like the Devontae Adams trade, Raiders had to give up a first and a second. For Tyreek Hill, Miami had to give up a first, a second, a fourth in 2022, and a fourth and a sixth for 2023. So just the 18th and the late 3rd round pick is unbelievable for A.J. Brown. I mean, you look at the Cardinals, they did practically the same trade. They traded the 23rd and the 100th pick, and they got Hollywood Brown, which was nowhere near A.J. Brown. So I just love this pick. Now let's see how they're going to use A.J. Brown. And I think that he's going to be our number 1 wide receiver at the X position. Now this makes Devontae Smith even more dangerous because I think they're going to put Devontae Smith in the Z. Now, corners couldn't touch Devontae Smith when he was coming off the scrimmage line. What's going to happen when he's coming a few yards off the scrimmage line? Nobody's going to be able to touch Devontae Smith. He's going to be so open. I just think this trade benefits everyone. It's a no-brainer. I'm giving this an A+, 100 out of 100. Now, with the 51st pick, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Cam Jurgens, center out of Nebraska. And I have no problem with this pick, especially if you look at what was left on the board. Because I said in the 2nd round, we should go either cornerback, safety, or edge. Well, cornerback, Roger McCreary, Kyle Gordon, Andrew Booth, all were gone. Now, I'm not looking at cornerback in the 2nd round. I'm looking cornerback maybe in the 3rd round. Same thing with safety. safety. Daxton Hill and Lewis Cine were taken at the last 2 picks of the first round, and then you have Jalen Petrie, who came out really early in the second round, and Jaquan Brisker, all gone. So I don't think Nick Cross or Kirby Joseph was worth a second round pick. And then you look at edge. You had Logan Hall, Arnold Ebiketie, Boya Mafe, and Joshua Pascal all taken. So if you're looking and you're staying true to your board, like, Cam Jurgens is not a bad pick at all. Some teams actually had Cam Jurgens ahead of Tyler Linderbaum. So this could be another first round talent taken in the second round. So I love this pick. I have no problem with it. Even Jason Kelce came out. He was actually live at Bleacher Report, and he said he handpicked Cam Jurgens. And that makes me love the pick even more, because he said that over the years, Cam Jurgens resembles him the most. So, like, you gotta love that. And Jason Kelce said he was part of his scouting, and he came and he was working with the Eagles, and he knew they were gonna pick Cam Jurgens. So, like, love this pick. Cam Jurgens is explosive, quick with his feet, and he has excellent body control. So, I mean, if you're a team that's looking for a mobile center, you got it. Now, the one thing I think he has over Kelce too is he has longer arms. So, I think this is a really good pick. Now, the only knock on this pick, unlike Jordan Davis, you're not going to see Jurgens in the rotation with Kelce. He will be redshirted his first year. And if Kelce decides play an extra year, then you're gonna not see Jurgens for 2 years. So we'll see what happens, but I like this pick. Now, I was gonna give this pick a B+, because I would have picked Nakobe Dean over Jurgens. But since we picked Dean in the third, and we'll talk about that shortly, I did move it up to an A-, a 92 out of 100. Now let's talk about Nakobe Dean. With the 83rd pick in the third round, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia. And if we're just looking at just value alone, a first round talent going in the third round, that's an A+. I don't know how Nakobe Dean slipped. Now, there was a lot of rumors going around saying that he needed surgery, that he's possibly going to miss the first season, which I have no idea where it's coming from, just because Nakobe Dean came out and said that doctors have never even told me that I needed surgery. And then Howie Roseman came out and saying that they expect him to start and play in the first day of rookie mini camps. So, like, I don't know what to believe. And, like, I'm going to start a rumor right now and say Howie Roseman started that rumor so he could get Nakobe Dean in the third. Like, that's the only explanation I can get. But we'll see if he needs surgery or not. Again, it's unclear. I think a lot of GMs were down on his size, maybe. But Nakobe Dean is a top 20 talent going in the third round. I actually had him ranked a little bit lower. I had him ranked number 26 overall, but still, to get him in the third round is unbelievable. So Nakobe Dean is probably the best linebacker in coverage. So I think he is like a running back in the backfield, covering so much ground like a corner. And on top of that, he is a really good blitzer as well. And he was finding a lot of success playing behind who? Jordan Davis. Well, guess what? We have Jordan Davis. So I think Nakobe Dean, on top of like just coverage and how quick he is and he can blitz, something that you can't teach is leadership, and he definitely has that. And he is just a true born leader, and he was the leader of the best defense in college. So like, I don't know how you get him in the third round. It is unbelievable. So like, you're getting an amazing linebacker. He was number 2 ranked for me, but like a lot of people had him ranked number 1. Some people were comparing him to like Ray Lewis. Like, I can see that. And it's just like in the third round, that's unbelievable value. So like, you get a good coverage linebacker who can blitz, but on top of that, you have leadership. He's going to be a Pro Bowler, 100%. And now you just put a chip on his shoulder as well. So Nakobe Dean is going to raise mayhem in the backfield. Like, this front seven is going to be scary. So I would start Nakobe Dean over TJ Edwards, and I would have Edwards come in as a rotation for a fresh linebacker. So I think Nakobe Dean and Kaiser White would be an excellent two starters at the linebacker position. So I give this A+, a 97 out of 100, because I think this is the steal of the draft. Moving on to the 6th round, the Philadelphia Eagles select Kyron Johnson, linebacker out of Kansas, with the 181st pick. And I'll be honest, I didn't know much about Kyron Johnson, so I did a little research, and here's what I was able to dig up. Right, so he played safety, nickel, linebacker, defensive end. In his 5th season with Kansas, he was primarily used as a defensive end. He led the team with 8.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles, and he was a 3-time captain. So, like, I really like what I'm seeing. Now, if you go and you look at the clips from the Senior Bowl, I think this is where he made a name for himself. Like, look at this clip. Look at what a beast he is. The guy who's he manhandling, that's Trevor Penning, who the Saints picked 19 overall. Like, he's taking a 1st round offensive lineman and just manhandling him. So I'm intrigued. I really am intrigued. And I think this is a good pick. I think he can be a backup at the same position. But also, he played special teams. And I think that's where he's going to make a name for himself on the Philadelphia Eagles roster. I think he's going to play special teams. And he's going to fill that void that Alex Singleton left when he went to the Broncos. So I actually give this pick a B, an 83 out of 100. Now, staying in the 6th round, the Eagles selected Grant Calcaterri, tight end out of SMU, with the 198th pick. Now, this kid has a great story. So he played his first 3 years in Oklahoma, and then his junior season, he actually played with Jalen Hurts. He was Jalen Hurts' tight end, and he has a good relationship with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts came out and said he's excited to get back to playing with Calcaterri, and they're really good friends, so, like, that's all good. But here's where it gets interesting. So Calcaterri was actually one of the top tight ends in 2019, but he decided to retire from football because he had too many concussions. And you know what? I can't blame the man. You have to care about your health more than anything. So he stayed 2 years away from football, and he was actually becoming a firefighter and an EMT, and then he realized that he could not stay away from football. So in 2021, he played with the Mustangs and SMU, and he had a pretty good season. He had 38 receptions, 465 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he was the captain. But, like, if he never stepped away, I think he would be one of the top tight ends coming off this draft. So I really like the prospect, and I like the fact that he's a true tight end, something that we don't have on the Eagles roster except for Dallas Goedert. You have Tyreen Jackson, who is a converted QB to tight end, and JJ Arcega-Whiteside, who went from wide receiver to tight end. But Calcaterri gives you a true tight end who can block, who can play the position naturally, and I think that's something that the Eagles are missing. And with Calcaterri, I think Sirianni now can play his 12 personnel 2 tight end sets. So I think this is a really good pick. Now, the only knock on it is if he does get a concussion in the NFL, how is that going to affect him? Now, I was watching an interview yesterday when he first started playing for SMU, and he said that he's doing a lot of conditioning so that if he does sustain a concussion, that it won't be as bad as before. And he has a lot of doctors helping him and everything, so we'll see what happens. But I actually like this pick, and I'm going to give it a B, but like a high B, an 86 out of 100. If you take all my grades and you sum it up and divide it, I get an overall grade of a 93, which is an A. So my overall grade for this draft is an A. I think Howie did an amazing job. I think we traded away 2 first-round picks, right? We gave the Saints one, and then we went and gave Tennessee one to get A.J. Brown. I still think we got 3 first-rounders. So I think Jordan Davis obviously is a first-rounder. I think Cam Jurgens is a first-rounder. I think Nakobe Dean is a first rounder. So like, I can't complain about this draft at all, and I have to tip my hat to Howie Roseman. I think he did an amazing job. Now there are still some holes that I want to quickly address, and that's the cornerback position opposite of Darius Slay and that safety position. Now, I do like the undrafted free agents that the Eagles brought for cornerback position, and that's Mario Goodrich out of Clemson and Josh Joby out of Alabama. But I still think we need a veterans present, and if they can beat out that veteran, then I would feel a lot more comfortable having them to start. So I was looking at the free agents, and there's a lot of good free agents still available. Now, all these guys are one-year band-aids, but still, I wouldn't mind bringing a lot of these guys in, and the number one person I would bring in is Xavier Rhodes, just because he has that relationship with Jonathan Gannon when he played for Minnesota, as well as when he played for the Colts. So I think Xavier Rhodes would be a perfect fit for a one-year band-aid. I know he's up there in age, he's 31, but like, why not just bring Xavier Rhodes? And then if you want to go a little younger, you can go Kevin King, cornerback from Green Bay. I think he played a solid year. I know that he got outplayed by Rasul Douglas and Eric Stokes, but like, Kevin King would not be a bad filler as well. Then you have Kyler Fuller, cornerback out of Denver, kind of the same thing, kind of got outplayed when Patrick Surtain came in, but he's a solid cornerback. Then you have Joe Hayden, who's 34 years old, but I think he still has a little juice to play 1 year. So Jordan Hayden wouldn't be bad as well. And then you finally have Trey Waynes, who has that connection with Jonathan Gannon all the way from Minnesota. So like, he could be a valuable player. But the one person that I want, and rumors are going around that the Giants will release James Bradberry by the end of this week, and that the Eagles will be aggressively pursuing him. And as you should, Howie Roseman, because I think that's the perfect fit. You could even sign him for a 2-year contract. He's 28 years old. You could sign him for a 2-year or 3-year. I think James Bradberry would be a perfect complement to Darius Slay, and then I would not be worried about the secondary. Now, the safety, I'm not as worried about it because I do like Marcus Epps, but we need another safety. So here's 4 safeties that I want to mention. The first safety I would bring in is Jaquiski Tartt, the 49ers safety. And I know, he dropped that interception in the NFC Championship game that could have probably took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. But he had a solid year. So I wouldn't mind bringing Tartt, and I think that might be one of the best options. Now you can bring in Landon Collins, which I'm not too crazy about because I think Collins struggles in coverage. He's more of a box safety, so he's more of a linebacker, but you also could bring him in. Maybe you can put him in strong safety and then put Harris into free safety. And let's talk about 2 trades that the Eagles could do for safety. And the first trade is I would be calling Baltimore and seeing what is Chuck Clark's availability. I mean, they signed Marcus Williams during free agency and then went and drafted Kyle Hamilton. So Chuck Clark should be available, and I would be making that phone call right now. So the last team I would be calling is the Las Vegas Raiders, and I would be calling in regards to Jonathan Abram because they did decline his 5th-year option, and I would see his availability. I think Abram is a tremendous talent. He was a first-round pick, he was a first-round talent, and why not try to trade if they're going to decline his 5th-year option? Now, one person I would try to kind of lure them in with is, believe it or not, Jalen Reagor. I would tell them, hey, listen, you lost Henry Ruggs, that burner. Why not take a chance at Jalen Reagor? And the Raiders did find success with Nelson Aguilar coming from the Eagles. Why not take a chance in Jalen Reagor? So I think if we can pull that trade, I think that would be the answer as long as he can stay healthy. And I think that's the concern, and I think that's why they declined his 5th-year option. So those are my options in safety. So please comment below, let me know what your grades on each pick is and what you think overall the Eagles' grade is for the entire draft, as well as how is Howie Roseman doing, and is he redeeming himself, or does he need one more good draft to redeem himself? As always, don't forget to show your love and like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications so you know when new episodes are coming out. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, love one another, and fly, Eagles, fly. This is George, signing out.